Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Front Row Access Podcast. I am your host, Steven Russo.
I'm Anthony Gonzalez.
Let's fucking get it. Alright, y'all. This is our 60th fucking broadcast. It's not really a broadcast since we pre-record these and upload it, but I'm gonna call it a broadcast anyway, so fuck all you technocrats. Yeah, so we've made fucking 60 of these, guys. Anthony, how do you feel about getting 60 episodes in to this point?
Waiting for what we're gonna do for the 100th one.
Wait,
What we're gonna do?
I have no fucking idea. Maybe we'll do like a special game on the podcast or something. Yeah, get everybody on here or something. We'll play Cards Against Humanity or some bullshit, and then that'll just be the podcast. But yeah, fucking 60 of these. We've made quite a bit, and we follow the same formula pretty much every time.
Yeah.
So, to stay consistent for that long with the same formula, it's kind of insane. I mean, obviously we went through some setup changes. We're now face to face now. We're not side by side anymore. We have a better camera these days.
We have a good backdrop.
We have a good backdrop with our new fridge. We have new mics and this cool little soundboard that you guys get to hear our lovely intro sound from every single time. I don't even know what song that's from, but whatever it is, it's fucking great.
Don't matter, it's on the Front Row Access Podcast now.
Exactly. It just makes me wonder, eventually when we do upgrade, I don't want to lose that sound. I think it's just too iconic for us at this point. But, I don't know. This one's still kicking ass and taking names for now, so we're just going to keep on going. So we're 60 episodes in, and here we are again, is another UFC pay-per-view episode. But before we get anything started, go ahead and follow all of our social medias. We are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are on TikTok. Go ahead and follow us, Front Row Access, on there. But we're not on Facebook because, fuck Facebook.
Indeed.
And if you have any suggestions for the channel, and if Pepsi wants to hit us up and grace us with their lovely presence and give us the lifetime supply of dew, let's see the crack. Alright, that was like a 6. A 6. Not too bad. We definitely had crispier ones on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
But that one was pretty good. So yeah, Pepsi, if you want to grace us with your presence and give us a sponsorship, you can email us, or if you guys have any content recommendations, frontrowaccess15@gmail.com. I check it rather frequently, usually twice a week. So I'll get to you eventually. Most of the time it's just like social media notifications. But other than that, though, I'm still always reading it. So yeah. Alright, guys, so this weekend we have fights. We have UFC pay-per-view. We have 2 titles on the line. It's going to be a great time. But before we talk about UFC 316, I'm definitely cracking open a broken skull lager for this one because it's UFC 316. And, we gotta give a nod to Stone Cold on that one. So I'm definitely breaking open a broken skull lager at some point, or maybe one of the fucking IPAs, and give that a go. But because it's UFC 316, bro.
Just don't drive a motorcycle down and hit someone
in the fucking leg. Dude, he must have been like, what? I'd say maybe a good 10 in. Yeah. As he was coming down the ramp, he was feeling pretty good. And then he just starts dumping tall boys all over his face and shit, and his fucking shirt all beard up. I'm like, this is just typical Stone Cold. No wonder why I grew up to love beer so much. I fucking love Stone Cold. But before we go into UFC 316, let's talk about the shit show. That was Blanchfield and Barber this weekend. We had a total of 3 finishes on the entire... No, not even. The entire card, including the prelims, we had 3 finishes the entire time. So, a lot of decisions. A lot of mez fights. A couple of questionable decisions.
This was kind of like one of the most lackluster fight nights I've seen.
Ever. Dude, this one was pretty fucking bad. And then on top of that, we had Gamrot win a decision because they put him up against some unranked guy, which I'm like, that is just completely unjust at this point. That is fucking Mateusz Gamrot. He gets beat by Dan Hooker and you want to give him an unranked guy? The fuck? Nah. And definitely, Mateusz Gamrot made his frustration known, and he definitely dominated that entire fucking fight. And, but then the main event, which was actually, I was pretty excited for, Blanchfield and Barber. I mean, we have 2 up-and-coming girls in the flyweight division, probably the most exciting women's division right now. Yeah, two up and comers. The winner of this fight would have most definitely gotten a title shot.
Yeah, this definitely would have caused ripples throughout the entire goddamn division.
But 6 minutes before walkout, Macy Barber takes a seizure right there in the hallway, and then the fight's canceled. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Now, Macy Barber had a couple of complications. This weight cut was pretty bad for her.
Yep.
So I saw, and she didn't make weight on weigh-in day. She missed it by half a pound. And usually, when you're on a fight night, you have a pound of grace. You can go to 126 and still be okay, but she was 126 and a half. So she had just missed weight. She had a very bad weight cut, and she's also coming off a year's layoff. Last time she fought was at UFC 299. That was Sean O'Malley and Cheeto Vera when fucking Sean O'Malley made Cheeto Vera into a human punching bag. And then Dustin Poirier knocked the shit out of Benoit Saint-Denis. That was a pretty good card. Looking back at it, everybody that I wanted to win fucking won. I'm like, that never happens to me. So that was our one little lucky moment. But yeah, so she hasn't fought in a year because she was fighting this good old autoimmune disorder that she developed. I'm guessing it's a genetic thing. It's kind of like the same thing that Hamzat Chimaev has, where you just get sick really easily, and then when you get sick, you stay sick, and that's just how it rolls. So Macy Barber fighting health complications for about a year, finally gets ready to fight again, but then she has to pull. She gets ready to fight at the end of last year. She's supposed to face fucking Rose Namajunas in October, but then had to pull out of that fight. Tracy Cortez had to fill in for her. So we had more waiting. Then we got the Blanchfield and Barber announcement. That was pretty exciting. Both girls were ready to go. And, well, Macy Barber once again runs into a health complication. So, unfortunate for both women. She had already given, Barber, that is, already gave up, I think, about 20% of her total winnings to Erin Blanchfield. And, yeah, it was pretty unfortunate. And it was a pretty shitty card, too. And this goes to raise the question: why does the UFC keep making shitty cards to put into the Apex? Can you tell me that? Because it seems like that's all they're doing with it now.
Before we were even watching it, we pulled it up and there were already two canceled fights.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just wondering, why are we not having our fighters fight? Like, why aren't we doing that?
That's what I'm saying. I heard it was a rough weigh-in day. Like a lot of people weren't making weight that day. I'm like, I don't know what
Isn't this Apex Center like the performance center for UFC where they do all their training and stuff, and where they
where a lot of fighters will do all of their training
like
camps.
their whole fitness stuff is based off of there.
You would think they'd have the best fucking doctors.
I would think that would be the case, and that they would know about these things and how to avoid them and minimize the risk
of them not making weight or suffering some kind of medical disorder. They got doctors in there. They got fucking physical therapists and shit.
So I just want to know the why.
You've already dumped millions into this fucking facility. Why aren't you using it to the greatest of its potential? I mean, I'm okay with the UFC doing shit at the Apex, but it's like, make the octagon bigger, first of all. Because I don't know if you guys know, the octagon that's at the UFC Apex on any of those Apex cards is significantly smaller than the one that you see at like a normal pay-per-view event. I'm like, all right, first make the octagon bigger, and then
Or rather, the correct size.
yes, make it the correct size, and like stop putting shitty things in there. It seems like they're just using the Apex to just dump cards into it. Like you guys come out with a new fight night every single week, but sometimes y'all just don't fucking try. I'd rather wait a couple of weeks for you to build a good card to put into an arena or something than make a shitty one and put it into the fucking UFC Apex. But it's just another shitty Apex show.
But I will say, as an aside, what this also does is allow us to see the unranked people fighting.
This is true.
Because they don't have to pay for them to go places. They're there. They're able to maybe draw a crowd and start getting a following together.
Yeah, that's true. That is a good thing that comes out of it.
But still, fix your goddamn octagon.
Fix the octagon and actually, put good cards in there. Like, don't just put like a halfway decent card in the main event and everybody else is just a bunch of like, what? Who the fuck is that guy? You know what I mean?
Do you think we can get them to donate the old Apex one to us?
The old Apex octagon?
Yeah, if they do get a new one.
Oh Jesus! I don't think that would come as a very good addition to my household. I don't know where the fuck I'd put it. The fucking yard.
We can donate it to your gym.
Where the fuck are they gonna put it? That's what I'm saying. My chin, although great, it ain't that big. Like, I don't know how you're gonna fit a fucking octagon in that bitch, but you know what? Fuck it, we can try. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Fix your goddamn octagon and actually put good cards in the Apex so you can, like, get some good ROI on this shit. Because it seems like you're just putting shit in there for the sake of putting shit in there. And I don't really like it.
Steven here would love to be hired as a matchmaker for you guys if you need some more help.
To be honest, I think I'd kick ass at that role. I really do. I mean, I pay enough attention to the sport, both ranked and unranked fighters. I follow literally every single Dana White's Contender Series, Ultimate Fighter. Even though Ultimate Fighter can be a bit of a drag sometimes, I just want to watch the fight at the end of it. But it gives a personal touch to the fighters so that you know them more. But at the same time, it's reality TV formula. I mean, nobody's used reality TV like legitimately since like the 90s, early 2000s. So I mean, like it's okay. But yeah, I think I'd actually kick ass at that role. Like I know exactly who to put against who most of the time. But then again, I'm not Hunter Campbell. I'm not any of those guys. But I would definitely like to help you guys out sometimes. Give a suggestion every now and again. And I'm sure, Anthony, would you want to go in there in the same role?
I would, but I would not be as caught up in the rankings as you. We could bounce ideas off each other.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's kind of what we do with this already.
You put together a spreadsheet, I'll look it over. I'll give my views on it. We might make some changes. Ship it their way.
And then just let Hunter Campbell and Sean Shelby just do their thing and see if they make the fights the best that they can be. So yeah, shit show at the fucking Apex last weekend. Gamrot ends up main eventing. No Blanchfield, no Barber. So I think with Blanchfield and Barber no longer being considered anymore, I think it's time to put Natalia Silva in the number one contendership spot since we're not going to have like a clear-cut number one contender out of those two again, and I don't know when they're going to fight again. I don't know how long Barber's going to be out. I can almost guarantee you Blanchfield's probably not going to want to wait around much longer. She just completed a whole fucking fight camp.
Yeah, what if Blanchard gets a match pretty soon?
Yeah, maybe Blanchfield gets a match, but all I know is Valentina Shevchenko has already done her one fight this year, so I don't know if there's going to be another one. So, but I think if there is going to be another one, I'd say put Natalia Silva in there. She had a great performance against the former champ, and then we'll have Blanchfield do another fight against another ranked opponent. Maybe she fights fucking Tracy Cortez or some bullshit, or maybe she fights Rose again, or Manon again, one of the two. But I can tell you, Blanchfield's not going to stray much beyond the top 5, at least for her next fight. And I don't think she's going to wait around for Barber. I think they're both going to probably go their separate ways. They might reschedule that fight way down the road because I have no idea how long Barber's going to be out because I just don't know her health situation, you know? I don't know, like, what has to be done with her. Not that I really need to know. This is medical shit. It's private, you know? But that's what I know so far. I'm not a reporter. I'm an observer, and I'm telling you. But maybe I will be a reporter one day. I'm just saying. Any MMA media people happen to stumble across this, I'll write some fucking MMA articles for you. I'll do some interviews for you. Or even if the UFC wants to hire me as like a press person, that'd be sick.
Maybe you can write an article about the downfall of GFL.
GFL didn't exist. That was always money laundering. Okay? That was always money laundering. That's what you have to understand. That shit was not real. But anyway, moving on from that. Blanchfield Barber, don't think the fight's going to happen again anytime soon. Think Blanchfield's going to want to fight soon because she's in shape. She's ready to fucking go. She can probably get on the next pay-per-view, to be honest. That one's still not filled yet. UFC 317 is actually really full. Never mind. Okay. It's actually really full. Never mind. Maybe, nope, 318 is getting pretty full. But it's not completely full yet. Maybe she can get on 318.
I mean, she could still have a fight night spot.
Yeah, fight night spot, maybe. But I think with the skills that Blanchfield brings, I think she should get a pay-per-view spot at this point. She mostly does fight nights. I'm like, she's skilled. I think the same for Barber. It's just, it's a matter of whether or not Barber fights or not. But I think they both deserve a pay-per-view spot, at least at some point. Soon-ish. But we'll see what happens. But UFC 316 is in the headlights. Blanchfield Barber in the rear view. we're just going to leave that at that, and we'll see what happens from here. But here is UFC 316. Obviously, you guys know the headline. Our defending bantamweight champion of the world, Merab Dvalishvili, is rematching against Sean O'Malley, a rematch from last September. So, we'll see how this fight goes, and then the co-main event is our reigning, not really defending, but reigning champion, Juliana Pena in the bantamweight division, who won that belt off a fucking fluke, to be honest with you. And she's going against Kayla Harrison in the co-main event. We also have a couple of notable, not a lot of notable prelims, but I'll still go over the early prelims and the preliminary card, only stopping for really one of them, because that's like the only one that I think is worth talking about here. And in our typical fashion, we're going to go over all of the fights right off the rip. We're going to go from the first early prelim all the way to the main event, starting now, even though I just said the main and co-main event. Fuck it. So we have Markel Medeiros versus Mark Toinski. Don't know anything about either of those guys. We have Quinlan Salkild and Yanel Ajmos. We have Jekka Sarai and Yuju Sang. We have Wang Chong and Ariana Lipsky. We have Johnny Walker was supposed to be on this fight card, but that fight's not happening for some reason. We also have Kaylin Williams and Andreas Gustafsson. We have Sergey Spivak and Waldo Cortez Acosta. That's the one we're going to be going over.
Yep.
And we have Osmat Mirzakhanov and Brunson Riviero. I hope I didn't butcher either of those names. I tried my best there. I even paused for a second. But we also have Bruno Silva, who's notable on here, but I have no knowledge about his other guy, Joshua Van. So I don't feel I can really talk to that very much. We have Vicente Luque and Kevin Holland. Always exciting to see Kevin Holland on the fight card. Always exciting to see Vicente Luque on the fight card. This should be a pretty good fight to start off the main card. We have Mario Batista and Patchy Mix. Those of y'all who don't know, Patchy Mix is a former Bellator champion. He's now coming over to the UFC, and he is facing Mario Batista, whose last win was against, I think, Cheeto. I think we were there for that fight. Was it Cheeto? It was Cheeto and Batista, right? Right. Did we see that fight? I think we did. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Anyway, Mario Batista's last fight, he won against Jose Aldo by pure robbery, I think. But no hate to Mario Batista. We also have Kelvin Gastelum and Joe Pyfer, which is actually gonna be a bit of a banger. I think that's the most slept on card slept on fight for this card
right now.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a really fucking good one. And of course, our co-main event: Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison, and then Merab Dvalishvili and Sean O'Malley. All right, retroacting back to the prelims. Let's talk about Sergey Spivak, and let's talk about Waldo Cortez Acosta. These motherfuckers are both scary as shit.
They are very scary.
These guys are both scary as shit. Sergey Spivak has gotten some notable wins over some tough competition, one of which being fucking Derek Lewis. So let's see. Sergey Spivak has some notable wins against Derek Lewis. He also has a notable win against Marcin Tybura, who's another big-time heavyweight guy. And earlier this year at UFC 311, he did fight Jailton Almeida, but he ran into Jailton Almeida. And I'm like, you're fucked. If you run into Jailton Almeida, I'm sorry. Unless your name is Curtis Blades, you're not beating that guy. And now he's going up in another pretty high-profile fight with Waldo Cortez Acosta. Waldo Cortez Acosta comes straight out of the Dominican Republic. I remember watching this guy back on the fucking Dana White Contender Series way the fuck back when, 2022, a whole 3 years ago. And I remember him, being a fucking badass. The dude has crazy power. Has he even taken a? Yes, he did take a loss in the UFC, but not a lot of losses. This guy wins more than he fucking loses, and he did fight earlier this year in March. He fought against Ryan Superman Spann, and he knocked him out in the second round. So, Let's see. Who else does he have good wins over? He's got a good win over Andrei Arlovsky, who's been around since God fucking forever ago. He's retired now, but
Cretaceous period, I think it was around since.
yeah, probably Cretaceous period. It might even have been Jurassic, like late Jurassic, early Cretaceous. But let's see. He has had who else has he gotten a notable win over? All right, Chase Sherman, guys. Nobody really knows this guy, but we do, and he has a special place in our hearts because this man takes 100 headshots and doesn't fucking go down. So he has been released by the UFC since then. But god damn it, the dude knew how to take a fucking punch. We called him the Sherman tank for a goddamn reason.
Simply block it with my face.
He does the Max Holloway strat. I will simply block the punch with my face. 200 plus times. Oh, Jesus. I felt so bad for him just getting beat on by Waldo Cortez Acosta on here. Now, the only loss that Cortez Acosta has taken was against Marcos Rodrigo de Lima, which he's best known for getting flying kneed by Derek Lewis. So, I mean...
It happens.
It happens. You got a big black man running at you. And it's just like...
It's basically a meteor attached to a knee.
I'm looking at him like, this isn't going to work out. Huh? This is where my life has taken me. I've gotten to this point. There's a gigantic black man flying at me with his knee, and it's connecting to my face. I fall down, miraculously live, then I proceed to eat like 20 plus ground shots before the ref finally saves my ass. I'm hearing colors, I'm seeing smells.
Rethinking some decisions.
I'm rethinking my entire life, like, how in the fuck did my bitch ass get here? So, naturally, his next fight, after losing to Derek Lewis, he had to get that shit done. So, and unfortunately, Cortez Acosta was on the receiving end of it. But goddamn, poor Marcos Rodrigo de Lima, bro. He is best known for getting flying kneed by Derek Lewis. Which, if I'm going against fucking Derek Lewis, more news on him later on in the podcast, but I'm not fucking expecting a flying knee, you know? I'm expecting a big-ass uppercut, maybe a nasty overhand, maybe a big hook, but not a fucking flying knee. Like, where the fuck? Bro was training with Jorge Masvidal. Said, you know what, Jorge Masvidal? He was in the audience when it happened. You ain't the only motherfucker that can do this shit. And then he does it right in front of him. But, god damn it. But, regardless, though. Back to Cortez Acosta and Sergey Spivak. This is a pretty interesting matchup. You have ungodly power on the side of Waldo Cortez Acosta. I think he's also the young... No, he is not the younger fighter. He is actually 3 years Sergey Spivak senior. And, Sergey Spivak is usually a big-time wrestling guy. He's very dangerous ground and pound. He's a big submission threat. Dude is known for beating Derek Lewis in a main event somewhere in 2023, 22. I remember staying up to like 5 a.m. to watch him fight. So, it was, because it was supposed to be Korean Zombie's last fight, that fight, but Korean Zombie had to pull out of the fight, and then it just didn't happen. It was in Korean time, so obviously here in the States, it's the early morning hours. So, I remember staying up to like maybe 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning to watch Derek Lewis get ragdolled by Sergey Spivak and then go to bed. I didn't wake up till maybe 1 p.m. the next day, but you know, when you go to bed at 5, that's just what happens.
It was a good time.
Yeah, but yeah. So that's this fight. Let's see. They both have a 78-inch reach. They both 260. And Waldo Cortez Acosta is an inch taller than him. So on fucking paper, this is a pretty fucking close fight, to be honest with you. Both guys are at similar spots in their career, I would say. They're just a couple of wins away from a big-time championship opportunity, or maybe not championship opportunity, but championship contention. Maybe start breaking into that top 10, that top 5, only a couple wins away from having a little number next to their name. As the odds currently stand, Sergey Spivak is the slight favorite, minus 150 to Waldo Cortez Acosta's plus 125 underdog status. and I think you got to pound the fuck out of that Waldo Cortez Acosta money line. I honestly feel like he's gonna fucking knock the piss out of this guy. Because what I've noticed with Sergey Spivak is he tends to shoot in pretty recklessly. And if you're shooting in pretty recklessly against somebody that has some crazy fucking power, you're gonna eat an uppercut. And that's what I think is gonna happen here. So I'm gonna say, guys, I think you have a safe bet with Waldo Cortez Acosta in this fight. What you got, Ant?
I'm gonna take Spirit for this.
Mhm.
They're both scary motherfuckers I would not want to get into the octagon with. But think
Well, that goes without saying.
I think Spivak probably would put me down quicker than
Then Cortez Acosta
Cortez
will.
Acosta.
But yeah, regardless though, it should be a pretty fucking good fight, and I'm kind of excited for it. I think and we got two like new guys, new kids on the block. You know what I mean? Not the boy band, and
I was gonna say that was a shout out to your mom.
not the boy band, but but I think that's going to be pretty good fight. And moving on to our main card here. Also, I want to acknowledge this one thing about this card.
One more thing.
Might be actually two more things for the prelims here. I'm looking at the odds because I like to look at odds sometimes, even though I don't bet. I like seeing them. So, two of the last two prelims, like the main and co-main events of the preliminary card, are heavy favorites on both sides.
How heavy are we talking?
Heavy. All right, so
300 plus? 400 plus?
around there, around there. So, Azamat Mirzakhanov, please don't hurt me if I butchered your name, is the minus 600 favorite against Brenson Ribeiro from Brazil. And the other one, Bruno Silva, who I know a little bit about. I've seen a couple of his fights. I've paid attention to him at least a little bit. He hasn't really done that one thing that really impresses me just yet. But he's also pretty. He's a younger guy. I think he's got some stuff going on. I think he might have something. But Joshua Van, this guy that he's fighting against, is the minus 700 favorite over the plus 450 underdog Bruno Silva.
What's this guy's background?
Which one?
Josh Van, whatever.
Joshua Van. Well, let's look at it, shall we? We got his profile right here. He's in the 4-ounce Fight Club. That's a fucking massive gym. Holy shit. Yeah, this guy's coming from a good gym. He had the same fucking birthday. That's kind of cool. He's 10/10/2001. I'm 10/10/2003. So we have the same birthday. Hold on. I'm gonna have to use my edit. All right, back to it.
So we were talking about the 4-ounce.
Yeah,
Fight Club
4-ounce Fight Club. That team is fucking incredible, dude. Let me tell you, they put out some fucking good fighters. And this guy is a freestyle fighter, so doesn't look like he has any kind of preference to one or the other. Let's look at Bro's stats, shall we? Let's go. Come on.
We're just trying to figure out why you're negative fucking 700.
A fucking minus 700 favorite is fucking wild. Alright, let's see. This guy, his last fight was in March, where he won by a unanimous decision. He's on a 3-fight winning streak, only losing once in July of last year. So this guy's actually a rather active fighter. He fought 4 times in 2024. So that's a very active fighter. And he won 3 of the 4. So that might be why. Because I'm looking at Silva's record right now. And it's not as impressive as of late, as I mentioned. So let's see. He actually, he's a rather inactive fighter. He only fought twice in 2024, once in 2023, and before 2023, his last fight was in May of 2021. So he's been out for. He's not a very active fighter. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. His last fight was a fucking knockout against Manel Kopp back on the Covington and Buckley card, the one where I was just fucking destroyed the entire time because thank you for Loco. Anyway, moving on from that.
I'm not saying I had one of those and then drove home. just like Sunday, but I
Eh!
had one of those and then just drove home Sunday.
Let's look at Joshua Van real quick. He's 23 years old, as I mentioned. Going against the 35-year-old. Oh, jeez. Both orthodox stance. He has an 8.1 significant strikes landed per minute. He has 60.3 significant strike accuracy. So this guy pretty much hits you every time. That was better than the last one,
It's
but
still not that pop though.
that not the pop though. Let's see. He has a 1.1% takedown average, so attempts one takedown per fight usually, same as Bruno Silva, but he has slightly more. He's 1.92. I'll round that up to 2. Takedown accuracy though. This is where they differ significantly. Um, Joshua Van has a 63.7 fucking takedown accuracy to Bruno Silva's 25. So that they differ heavily on significant strikes landed per minute.
That's bad coming from a fucking jiu-jitsu guy to a freestyle guy.
Yeah. So I think I'm starting to see why he's a minus 700 favorite. He has significantly higher significant strikes landed per minute at 8.1, which is just nuts. That means this dude's just gonna keep fucking throwing. Fucking Bruno Silva only throws 3.5, and I'll be generous and give him 4. That's still half as many strikes more that Joshua Van's gonna land over Bruno Silva on average. And then the accuracy. I mean, they're both pretty accurate. It seems like Van throws more and hits more, but Silva here doesn't throw as much, but he tends to pick his shot. So he's like a 54.6. I'll round that up to 55 significant strike accuracy, which is pretty fucking good. You usually want to be in the 50% range or above 50% for your significant strikes landed per minute, or your significant strike accuracy, that is. So that is. I think I understand why Joshua Van is the minus 700 favorite now. He's pretty much better than him on every front of MMA. Makes sense for the freestyle fighter. But, and the jiu-jitsu guy, man, even though he's a jiu-jitsu guy, his submission attempt average is 0.19.
Jiu-jitsu guy, no jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu guy no do jiu-jitsu. Like, what's jiu-jitsu guy doing no doing jiu-jitsu? Like, that's fucking wild. That's fucking wild. Anyway, Joshua Van, I think your money's safe. Because he's like better in every aspect of MMA by a significant margin to Bruno Silva, and that's just according to the stats. That makes sense as to why. I'm assuming it's the same thing for the Russian guy, Azamat Mirzakhanov. Yeah, it's about the same, but it seems like it should be closer than it actually is. Like, I'm more impressed by Joshua Van's stats than Azamat's, based off of that. But regardless, though, I think you're safe with Joshua Van for your money there. I mean, we're not a betting podcast, but I'm just saying. I don't bet on this shit. Statistically speaking,
it's in the bag.
Joshua Van is like significantly better than Bruno Silva in like every aspect of MMA. So, I mean, I think it goes without saying. But yeah, so that's our featured prelim, 2 flyweights. So good to see that division moving a little bit, moving and grooving a little bit.
This is kind of like one of those changeovers that happens at one point. Because I've not kept tabs on, but I heard and, I've heard and keep an eye on Bruno Silva.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know this other guy. And this other guy should rip him to shreds.
Just based off of the stats.
Which means that I will then, instead of looking at how Bruno Silva is, be looking at Josh Van,
Yeah. It's I think it's gonna be a big moment for Joshua Van if he gets a win over Silva here. I think he's gonna get another big matchup after that. He's like the first stepping stone to becoming prominent in division. He's like, if Joshua Van gets the win here, he's like at the point Manel Kopp was at this time last year, I would say. And Manel Kopp has become a pretty prominent member in the flyweight division as of late. Not only for his attitude, but his exciting fights. So I'm going to say, just based off of this trend that I'm seeing, Just with the UFC in general. Joshua, this might be like Joshua Van's first stepping stone into becoming a prominent member. And I would say Van is probably at the point that Cop was at this time last year. So, are they on a collision course to meet each other at some point? We'll fucking find out. But, let's move into this main card now, shall we? Starting off with our first fight. Vicente Luque and Kevin Holland. As the odds currently have it, Vicente Luque is the plus 230 underdog to the minus 280 favorite Kevin Holland. That's actually that's pretty decisive difference between the two of them. But let's go over how they roll, huh?
Anything over 225, and I'm looking at you to put a stamp on it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking for you to be like, okay, yeah, this is definitely why I'm expecting a finish here, from one or the other. Obviously we have Vicente Luque. I believe his nickname is the Silent Assassin, which is wild, and Kevin Trailblaze Holland. Obviously Vicente Luque. We're gonna start with the older guy who's been here a tiny bit longer than Kevin Holland, but has fought significantly less because he suffered a brain hemorrhage at one point and couldn't fight for a little while. So, let's see.
Y'all courageous enough to step back into the octagon after taking a brain hemorrhage?
I would retire right then and there. Be like, nope, I'm done. Goodbye.
Yeah, I ain't either.
Yeah. So, let's see. Brain hemorrhage, fucking Luque. He got that hemorrhage against Rafael Dos Anjos back in 2023. And then took a knockout loss to fucking Joaquin Buckley a year later.
Yeesh.
Oh, jeez.
Brain hemorrhage guy against Buckley, huh? I mean, Strickland must have been there for that.
Strickland had to have been. He'd be like, oh, fuck. This guy's gonna fucking kill that guy. I gotta get ready. I gotta start running down there. And just he's on the side with a big ass first aid kit, just like, all right, I'm ready. When's he dying? He's like, this guy's pulled up next to him. It's in a big ass orange suitcase or something. He's like, all right, let me know when it happens. He didn't even need to run down. Anyway, Vicente Luque, striker, big time striker, high volume, high volume striker. He's also a more diverse striker than I'd say Kevin Holland is. Kevin Holland's mostly hands. Kevin Holland don't throw a lot of kicks. If he does, they're usually to your leg or front kick, which that's not bad. Whatever works, works. But I would say the more dynamic striker, that was the word I was looking for, is Vicente Luque. Dude's got an arsenal of kicks. Dude's got an arsenal of different punches and elbows and knees. But he also has this one sneaky little thing that Kevin Holland also has. It's the Battle of the Darshes, guys. We have the Darsh Night, and then the Always and Forever. It's always Vicente Luque by Darsh Choke. Because that's just what happens. So I guess this is going to be a battle of who can lock up their Darsh Choke first.
Yup.
Is it going to be the Darsh Knight or the Darsh Ninja?
Like, student will become the master.
Is the student going to become the master? Or will the master keep the student at student status? Kevin Holland is labeled as a kung fu fighter, but don't take that for granted. This motherfucker knows how to work on the ground. He's got a pretty deadly guard. He's got really long legs, so triangles are always deadly for him. We saw him win by a triangle armbar back last June when they went to Newark, New Jersey, in the Poirier Makachev card. But yeah, so this is going to be quite the fight, if I'm going to be honest. I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be a bit of a war between the two of them. And I think it's going to come down to whoever locks up the Darsh Choke first. And as much as I'm going to say Kevin Holland and like every aspect of the word Kevin Holland, I'm going to say Vicente Luque by Darsh Choke because it's always Vicente Luque by Darsh Choke.
It is always Vicente Luque by Darsh Choke. I got to go with that. That's what it always is.
It's always Vicente Luque by Darsh Choke. It always is. Even though every statistic is telling me that Kevin Holland should win, because we're looking at it, right? 81-inch reach for Kevin Holland to 75.5 on Vicente Luque. Kevin Holland is 1 year younger, and 6'3" to 5'11". 6'3", Kevin Holland. Both of them are orthodox. Significant strikes landed per minute. They're pretty even. It's 4.19 for Kevin Holland, and it's 5.05 for Vicente Luque. Significant strike accuracy, they're both over 50%. Kevin Holland is the more accurate striker, 62.7. Actually, no, 63%, because that's a zero there. So 63% significant strike accuracy to Vicente Luque's 55.3. Takedown average, both these guys don't really take each other down very much. They're usually in takedowns when they lark up Darce chokes.
Yeah.
So, takedown average for Luque is 0.99. Takedown average for Kevin Holland is 0.77. So both guys don't really take each other down a lot. But the far more accurate takedown person is Vicente Luque at 54% to Kevin Holland's 38%. Bro's not a wrestler. bro don't wrestle. But bro knows jujitsu, so that's a good little counter. But and the submission average is under 1% each time. But both these guys just have sneaky ass Darce chokes, and that's usually how they end up winning. So yeah, pretty much every aspect of MMA, I'm gonna lean slightly more towards Kevin Holland, but it's always Vicente Luque by Darce choke, so I'm going to take Vicente Luque by Darce choke. What you got, Ant?
Vicente Luque by Darce choke.
Because that's just how it's gonna be. I remember last time I was like, should I just bet on this and say Vicente Luque by Darce choke? And then I'm like, nah, I probably shouldn't. Then 52 seconds into round one, Vicente Luque by Darce choke. I'm like, I should have bet. I fucking called it.
As it always was, as it always will be.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. But I will say Kevin Holland has been winning more than Luque as of late. That's another reason why every aspect of the word Kevin Holland makes me want to say Kevin Holland. Let's look at Kevin Holland's last couple of fights, shall we? Active fighter. We all love this guy, right? He just beat Gunnar Nelson back in March of 2025. Good job for him. Got back in the win column after going on a bit of a skid, taking back-to-back losses to both Roman Dolidze and Reiner de Ritter, which that's okay. You lost to Roman Dolidze and Reiner de Ritter. That's okay. You can take those losses. And then his last win before the Gunnar Nelson win was against Olin Jashuk back in UFC 302 with Makhachev and Poirier. And before that, his loss was to Michael Page on UFC 299. So, both guys haven't really been winning as often as they probably should. But that's seeming as Luque's last win was in December, and Holland's last win was in March. They're probably going more off of that than anything else. And then also, Vicente Luque has been on a bit of a inactive streak. His last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights have been within the past 3 years. So, this guy fights usually about once, maybe twice a year. He fought twice in 2022 and lost both times. Once to Bilal Muhammad and once to Jeff Neal. One against Rafael Dos Anjos. Then he takes a knockout to Joaquin Buckley. Because, of course, you took a knockout to Joaquin Buckley. It's fucking Joaquin Buckley. And then his last win was against this guy, Themba Garimbo from Zimbabwe. And that was on UFC 310 with Pantoja and Asakura when I just should have bet Luque by Darce choke. Because it's always Luque by fucking Darce choke. And that's what I'm going to say right here officially on the podcast.
You know, it's funny because I'm pretty sure in both their training camps, they're just going to be training on how to avoid and then lock out their own Darce chokes.
To be honest, that's probably what they've been doing. Because both of these guys have that sneaky submission. They're strikers with a sneaky Darce. I don't know how some of these strikers just have a sneaky Darce. They just do. And Dustin Poirier was even one of them at one point. He hasn't really used it much lately, but, you know. In his earlier days, he was a striker with a sneaky Darce. So, I mean, we'll take it. Anyway, moving on to the next fight. Mario Batista, Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix making his UFC debut. He's a switch stance fighter. He's out of Extreme Couture, so this guy trains with John Strickland. This guy trains with who's the other fucking guy? Not Superman Span. No, another guy. Similar build. Fuck. What's Home Dude's name? Damn it. It's not coming to my brain right now. Chris Curtis. Chris the Action Man Curtis. So he trains with those guys over there in Extreme Couture. He's 31 years old. In his last couple of fights, Patchy Mix has won. So, but he has not fought in over a year. His last fight was against whoever this guy is, Magomed Magomedov. Yep, that's a great name. Magomed Magomedov. He won by split decision, and before that, he went on a 3-finish streak against Sergio Pettis, who's Anthony Pettis' little brother. For those of you guys that don't know, that was in Bellator 301. Then we have he went against Rafael Stotts, who and won against him back in April of 2023. So this guy hasn't really fought a whole lot in recent times, but it's probably because he was in contract negotiations with the UFC. So that's probably why he hasn't fought. But then again, always this problem with people that come from other promotions that Anthony has mentioned to the fullest degree on this podcast, and he's right. UFC is a different level than Bellator, than fucking Ryzen, than One Championship. It is a different level of competition, and that is always something to consider when you're seeing these big time Bellator guys who are champions and whatnot coming into the UFC. I mean, look at Michael Chandler. He's one of the most unfortunate examples. Bro was unstoppable in Bellator, fucking winning every fight. Was a former champion. Takes the L to Patricio Pitbull. That's all right. Moves up to the UFC, knocks out Dan Hooker, but then proceeds to only win 2 times in the UFC. He only won against Dan Hooker after coming off a war with Dustin Poirier. So his brain was probably still a little scrambled after that. Then he loses to Charles Oliveira. Then he loses to Justin Gaethje. Then he wins against an aging, declining Tony Ferguson. And then he fucking loses to Dustin Poirier. He fucking waits 2 years for Conor McGregor, doesn't fight again. Then he fights Paddy Pimblett and gets and loses to him, making this dude 2-4 in the UFC. So damn. So that goes back to Anthony's point. It's just a different level when you get to the UFC sometimes. I mean, we've seen guys from One Championship, Rainer de Ritter, get some notable wins. We've seen MVP fraud check the fuck out of Shara Bullet, but like those are like special fighters. Rainer de Ritter was a special fighter. Um, fucking Michael Page is a special fighter, but let's be honest, Michael Page was struggling a little bit before he got that win against Shara Bullet. So I mean, it's always something to keep in mind when it comes to these guys coming into the UFC after being unstoppable in another promotion. Anthony, what's your take on this one? Mario Batista, Patchy Mix.
I would really like to say I'm behind this guy coming from this other promotion. Let's see it happen. Let's make the magic happen. But I think the problem I always have is that it is a different level of competition, and I think that's because it's a different level of fighters in them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're putting. I don't want it to sound like this, but you're putting a B rank versus an A rank, or an A rank versus an S rank. That's what it always seems like whenever these guys show up to the UFC to make their name because they've been there and done it all in their previous promotion. It's just, you gotta make sure that if you come to play, you come correct. And I don't see that too often with these people coming.
No, I mean, we've only really seen a couple of impressive debuts, and those are the two that I mentioned. Fucking Michael Page and Rainer de Ritter. Rainer de Ritter hasn't lost yet, but Michael Page did. That's the thing. So, like, it's slightly different when you get to the UFC, I've noticed. And you've noticed. Mario Batista, I think, is a good entry-level fight for somebody coming in. Seeming as, like, he's kind of the gatekeeper of bantamweight, in a way. Kind of a journeyman. Maybe not a journeyman, but like like a gatekeeper of bantamweight. Like, if you beat Mario Batista, more than likely you're going to get a bigger match later on. Maybe you get further into the top 10, maybe even top 5. So I don't think that the matchmaking is off here. I think that's a rather good first opponent for somebody just coming over who was a champion. At least you're not putting a former champion against a current champion in the UFC. The Asakura fucking...
Yeah, that should have
The Asakura that shouldn't have happened. Like, you have Pantoja, who's been killing it, and as the flyweight champion for the past almost 2 years now. It will be 2 years in July. And for almost 2 years now, fighting actively, being even more impressive than his last one each and every time. And you're just gonna bring in this new guy who looked really good in Ryzen. Don't get me wrong, the dude was a killer in Ryzen. But Ryzen has a different set of rules. Ryzen has a different system of fights. They're still MMA fights, but they're different rules. And it's different types of fighters. They're not like at the same level, that Asakura was at in that promotion. So he moves over to UFC, but he instantly gets a title shot. I'm like, I think that's kind of like career suicide, you know?
I would think that whenever one of these fighters come from any of the other promotions that are out there, I'd be okay with them fighting a top 10, but not a top 5.
Or a champion for that matter. Like, oh,
No.
hell no.
Hell no.
Like, oh, hell no. But seeing a top 10 fight, that's a good one. Like when Michael Page came to the UFC and fought Kevin Holland, I actually thought that was a pretty good matchmaking point good matchmaking point on the front of UFC for Michael Page.
Yep.
I thought Kevin Holland was a perfect first fight for him, and then he was able to show his skill. He was able to beat Kevin Holland, and then that was that. But Mario Batista, I think, is a better match than the Kai Asakura treatment.
That was just stupid on the UFC part.
That really was. I'm like, he's great. Don't get me wrong, but like he's.
Yeah, that's nothing against Kai Asakura. We're not saying anything bad about you.
They can all kick our ass.
We're just saying that there were other people who had been there and been doing more, and it seemed more like it was just give some big names and sell.
Yeah.
I'm sure the pay-per-view race did fantastic, especially with the broader audience.
They're bringing the Japanese audience into the UFC, which is a market that the UFC has failed to actually reach because they just keep not making Japanese superstars. And ever since UFC bought Pride MMA, which was the original Japanese promotion, they really haven't had any big time MMA fighters coming from Japan. Asakura was the guy, and Ryzen in Japan is the same as UFC is here in America. So good job on bursting into the market, but you put him in a bad match, dude. And we haven't seen Asakura since.
Yeah, you haven't shown us a good side for Asakura.
I know Asakura is good. I've watched his fights, but I just want to see him fight again because I think putting him against Pantoja was a terrible, terrible move. But anyway, Mario Batista and Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix here is the minus 185 favorite over the plus 155 underdog in Mario Batista. It's a very close fight. On paper, both of these guys have, I guess, a similar reach, and they're both the same age. Patchy Mix is slightly taller by 2 inches, but I don't really have any other stats on him, at least on ESPN that I'm looking at right now. So just because of how it's been lately, I'm gonna have to go with Mario Batista here. Because his last fight he beat Jose Aldo, but then again, it's an aging Jose Aldo. It's not the same one that was running the featherweight division for a decade. But I think as much as I want to see Patchy Mix do a really good job because he looks like a pretty cool fighter, at least on paper. I can't say I think I watched his fight when he fought Sergio Pettis, and it was a good fight. He beat that ass. But yeah, I don't know. Based on what I've seen, I'm gonna have to go with Mario Batista on this. But I'm hoping Patchy Mix actually does get it done and makes a good statement because let's be honest, guys. Who the fuck likes Mario Batista? I fucking hate the guy. So that don't come and beat me up, please, Mario Batista. I just don't like your style of fighting. I know it works for you, but you can still kick my ass either way.
Maybe he can come for an interview.
I think I've thrown out that chance at this point. I think I've thrown out that opportunity. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Mario Batista to win this fight, though. Anthony, what you got?
Yeah, I got Mario Batista all the way because I can't, in good faith, tell you someone from a different promotion is coming and it's gonna serve that silver platter to them until I start seeing it happen more often. And I'm not saying anything bad about guys from Bellator, Ryzen, or any of that shit. I'm just saying history has shown me that you're not quite there yet when it comes to UFC caliber. But once again, when we're talking like that, we're talking fucking Asakura versus champion.
That was
It's
so bad.
not. it's not fair in either regards to either side, if you ask me. But I can say that I hope Patchy kicks fucking Batista's ass. I'm just not gonna tell you he's gonna do it.
Just I based off of the status that they're both at, it's just like, and just what we've seen in recent history, I can't not pick Mario Batista to win here just off a hunch. Like it's so strange. I mean, and yeah, but once a fight's a fight. End of the day, you never know what's gonna happen. Once that cage door is closed. Go fucking show me something. You know what I mean? And if Patchy Mix starts putting the moves on Mario Batista in round one, maybe even finishes in then I'm gonna be like, I was completely wrong about this guy. But until I start seeing that more often, which we haven't really seen all that often, I can't confidently tell you that the new guy is gonna win. I just can't. Moving on though to what I think is the biggest sleeper fight on this whole entire card. Nobody's talking enough about it. Nobody understands how big of a fight this is. I'm like, this
No
fight
one
is.
understands.
You don't understand. This fight is going to kick absolute ass. It's going to kick some donkey balls in. Fucking Kelvin Gastelum and Joe Pyfer. Now, it's in the featured fight spot. It's the fight before the co-main and main event. So that's already like, if you're not going to be in the co-main or main event, that's where you want to be on a pay-per-view card. You want to be that featured fight. Both these guys coming back to middleweight. Joe Pyfer's always been there. Kelvin Gastelum's moving back up after a failed run at 170. He's going back to the division that he fucking kicked ass in. Kelvin Gastelum back in the day, I shouldn't even say back in the day because this dude's still young. He's 33 years old. But he was kicking absolute ass in the middleweight division. Then he just fucking ran into Israel Adesanya. Prime Adesanya, for that matter. We're talking 2019, 2018.
Unstoppable.
Unstoppable ass fucking contender is he? Like, you just ran into that fucker and you lost the interim title fight by a literal last second stoppage. Like, it was like the last couple of seconds of the fight that Israel Adesanya was able to get the stoppage. Not even get the stoppage. I think he ended up almost finishing him. Bro was saved by the bell, and then Israel Adesanya won a split decision, if I can remember correctly. It was a long time ago. That was 6 years ago, guys. I remember watching that. I remember like seeing the highlights of that. I didn't watch it live, but I remember that card was pretty big on like the ESPN headlines the next day. I was like, who's this fucking Israel Adesanya guy? Little did I fucking know what would end up happening. But this Kelvin Gastelum, guys, Ultimate Fighter came from that little promotion there. He's had a bit of a rough stretch as of late, but can't forget this dude was kicking absolute ass at one point. I mean, fucking kicked Michael Bisping's ass back in the day. Fucking kicked Jacare Souza's ass back in the day. And that was back when Jacare Souza was like dangerous. And Jacare these days he's gone. He's retired now, but and then he runs into Israel Adesanya. He loses by a decision. Then he loses a split decision to Darren Till, which could be argued that Darren Till lost that fight. I think I remember it being a closer decision. Then he takes the L to Jack Hermanson, gets a win over Ian Heinstich, who doesn't even fight in the UFC anymore. Lost to Robert Whittaker, which that's fair. In April of 2021, lost to Robert Whittaker. Then in August of 2021, lost to Jared Cannonier, which that's also okay.
Yep.
He wins against Chris Curtis in April of 2023. He loses to Sean Brady, and then he wins against Daniel Rodriguez. Now, the notable thing to say is that he beat Daniel Rodriguez. Danny Rodriguez is, he's a rather new guy that, was kicking some ass before he ran into Kelvin Gastelum. And Kelvin Gastelum went and put on a fucking show against him, showing that, I'm still here, motherfuckers. But that was over a year ago. Almost a year ago. June 22nd, 2024, that fight happened. But Kelvin Gastelum, man, he's got some crazy wins here, man. And at one point in his career, bro was on a shit, dude. Back in his amateur days, he was on a crazy winning streak. Once he got to the UFC, he started losing a little bit. But god damn it, dude, Kelvin Gastelum's a fucking beast. That dude just leaves it all out there. Every single fight that Kelvin Gastelum in is a fucking banger. Doesn't matter what type of a fight it is. Doesn't matter who he's against. Kelvin Gastelum just puts on banger fights. And he just won recently against a pretty dangerous guy in Daniel Rodriguez. So, but now, you got to talk about good old Joe Pyfer here, who's been the guy that I've been He's been like under that. He's been sneaking under that radar a little bit, but I paid attention to him because of his big time fucking fight that he had against Jack Hermanson. Now he lost that fight in February of 2024, but god damn it, did he put Jack Hermanson through a very tough fight. And he just won against Marc Andre Barreau back in June of last year. So on top of that, he has notable wins over Gerard Meerschaert and all that. So Joe Pyfer, he's a rather new guy in the UFC. He hasn't been around for all that long. He's only had 5 fights here, but the dude has been winning pretty much all his fights with some crazy ass finishes. Most of them coming in the first round. Even his last one was a round 1 TKO. His last win before that was a submission, round 2. Round 1 knockout. Round 1 knockout. This guy finishes motherfuckers and he's really good at his fucking job. And he currently stands as the minus 380 favorite to the plus 290 Kelvin Gastelum. Now, do I think that that's necessarily the right ranking to give to both these fighters? I'm going to tell you no, because I'm looking at the stats here. Kelvin Gastelum significantly shorter, but has only a 3-inch reach disadvantage. He's 33 years old. Joe Pyfer's 28. It's southpaw and orthodox, with Kelvin Gastelum being the southpaw. Joe Pyfer, I don't think, has fought a southpaw. So, that's definitely something different. I'm not saying he didn't simulate that in training camp. He probably did. There's probably every sparring partner that he went against was in the southpaw stance to get him used to it. Both these guys have a 3.7 significant strike landed per minute. Both these guys have about a 42% takedown average. No, wait, never mind. 42% significant strike accuracy. 46.6% significant strike accuracy for Gastelum. Both these guys throw about 3 strikes per minute, or land about 3 strikes per minute. Both guys have about a 1% one takedown average each fight that they're in. With Joe Pyfer having the slightly more accurate takedown. It's a lot more closer than I think the odds makers made it out to be. I think a lot of them are riding off of the finishes that Joe Pyfer has like just lined up, because the dude has had really impressive finishes. But and Kelvin Gastelum has had a rather messy up and down record as of late, but you can never truly count Gastelum out. You really fucking can't. So I think the odds are not doing a very good service to that. I don't know, man. What you thinking about that based off the stats I just read?
I would say the odds aren't where they should be, although I would say probably give Piper negative 225 and give
Gastelum.
Gaslam probably
That was a good one.
yeah, it was 185 to 200, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think that's a better odds making. I still gotta
I know
tell
jack
you.
shit about odds, by the way.
Yeah, I know, me too. But it seems a little bit fairer.
Yeah.
Just based off of how it's been. I can understand why Gastelum is the underdog, but you can never really count Gastelum out of fucking anything, in my eyes. Because the dude's just a tough bastard. He fights till the very end. You gotta like, he's gonna keep fighting until he dies or wins type deal. You know, he happens to be dying as of late.
And this is a guy who will definitely
Mhm.
try getting it done and not let it get to a decision.
Because then again, Kelvin Gastelum is a bit of a journeyman figure to this point. He's kind of the guy that you have to go through before you can start getting to like the upper echelon of divisions, or start being seen as a legitimate threat. A lot of people will say, "Oh, it's just a hype train, stuff like that," and which valid, but at the same point, they always have to get tested at some point, and Kelvin Gastelum's usually that test for people. I've just noticed that based off of how it goes a lot of the time. But I'm still gonna tell you, I have confidence that Joe Pyfer wins this. Even though I love Gastelum with like all my heart, I fucking love him. He's such a great fighter. He's such a cool guy too. Like I'd kick back, have a beer with him if he wanted to. But I just have to say, I think Pyfer is gonna slightly get this done. I'm gonna say, I know I haven't really given any specifics as of late for this podcast, so I can't really give specifics. I haven't really given you rounds or methods. I'm just kind of telling you who I think is going to win. But I think for sure it's going to be a finish on the submission side for Joe Pyfer, probably in round 1 or 2. Maybe 2. I'll say 2. Round 2 submission.
Yeah, I don't know how Piper's gonna do it, but I gotta finish in the first 2 rounds.
Mm.
Don't know the how yet.
So I'm gonna tell you submission in round 2. That's gonna be the most specific prediction I'm gonna give you on this card, by the way.
Well, no, we know that the Darce choke is going to.
Oh yeah, the Darce choke is going to be locked in. It's either going to be Kevin Holland or Vicente Luque given that Darce choke. But just
aside from that one,
aside from that one, I guess it's gonna be a battle of Darce chokes. but like I said, man, it's always Vicente Luque by fucking Darce choke somehow, some way. But that being said, Kelvin Gastelum, Joe Piper's gonna be a fucking banger. I'm expecting big things out of this fight, and you should too. You totally should, because it's going to be a fucking great time. Can't wait for it to happen. God damn, we're already an hour and 6 minutes into this bitch, and we're at the co-main and main event, making good time. All right. So yeah, Joe Piper, round 2, submission. I would say maybe later round 2, late round 2. I think it's gonna be a war up until then. Anyway, next up on our list, we're going into the big ones, guys. These are the ones. These are the ones right here. Yeah, Juliana Pena, a reigning, not really defending, but reigning champion. Women's bantamweight champion. Don't mind my Discord calls. But, Juliana Pena, 2-time champion, for that matter. But she's going up against Kayla Harrison. Now, this was one of my early on predictions last year. If you guys remember the FRA Awards, I gave Kayla Harrison Breakout Female of the Year, and I told you that she was probably going to be fighting for a title by the middle of next year on that very podcast. And here we are. We're midway through the year, and she's fighting for a goddamn title. Not going to say I called it, but I fucking called it. But then again, Kayla Harrison is probably the biggest thing that's happened to the bantamweight division since Amanda Nunes left. Amanda Nunes packed it up and left, went out on top, retired the champion. Kel Pennington took up the mantle, and was the champ for a little while, and then lost it to Juliana Pena by a pretty bullshit decision, if I'm going to be completely real with you. I do not think Pena won that fight. I have to go back and watch it, but I really don't think Pena won that fight.
But was she more marketable?
Pena more marketable? Not really, to be honest with you. She doesn't. Her biggest marketable feature is that she beat Amanda Nunes, and she sometimes attempts to shit talk, and sometimes it's good. She's not a very big draw, at least in my eyes. The only thing that she's been riding that Amanda Nunes fluke win for the last 4 years. Other than that, she hasn't given me anything. Like, yes, you beat Amanda Nunes. That's fucking that's enormous. But then as soon as you get the rematch against her, she whooped your ass. So I mean, like, just goes to show that was a fluke. And then Juliana Payne needed facial reconstruction surgery. Legitimately needed facial reconstruction surgery after Amanda Nunes beat the fucking brakes off of her. So, I mean, other than that, you haven't given me shit. You've been riding that Amanda Nunes fluke win for the last 4 years. I'm not a very big Pena fan, if you can't tell. But, God damn it, she is a great jiu-jitsu artist. I will give her that. If this fight gets to the ground, she's not going to be helpless. Because more than likely, you're going up against Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison is also a grappler. If these two hit the floor, Juliana Pena is not going to be useless. She's going to be able to fight. But it's just, the style of grappling is just so different between the two of them. Juliana Pena kind of tends to wait. Like, she'll lay a whole round on her back and take the round, but then find a fucking sneaky rear naked choke later on. And to be honest, she's rather, despite being a champion, she's a rather middle of the road type of fighter. Like, at least on like the UFC like level of staging, but like I don't think she's a better fighter than Raquel Pennington. And even though she beat Raquel Pennington, I don't think she's a better fighter than Raquel Pennington. Even though technically she is, but I just don't think she is. She's not as complete. It seems like she's missing something. Like, she's got the jiu-jitsu, she's got some hands, but like, she don't got head movement. She don't have accuracy. She don't have like, she doesn't have a whole lot of volume either. It's just like, you're like almost there, but you're not quite there, And Kayla Harrison's just been the biggest question of the UFC division as of late. I mean, she had a crazy debut against Holly Holm. Holly Holm fucking forgot she was Holly Holm that night and got absolutely ragdolled. Then she went and got involved in a money laundering scheme. But what a fall from grace. But let's go over this last couple of fights with Kayla Harrison. Let's introduce their challenger. Her last wins against Ketlin Vieira. That's back at UFC 307, Pereira versus Roundtree Jr. That was her second fight in the UFC. And her first fight in the UFC was Holly Holm, and she won by a submission in round 2. That was Pereira versus Hill. She beat Aspen Ladd before Aspen Ladd went to the UFC in the PFL 2023 Women's World Championship. She lost, and this is her PFL career. So she hasn't really fought. She fought a lot last year. One fight every 6 months, April and October. So rather active fighter. And she's a crazy judo practitioner and a crazy wrestler. She's really fucking good at throwing you, tripping you, and clinching with you. And she's going to try to do that against Juliana Pena. But Juliana Pena is the jiu-jitsu fighter. So she's got to be really careful on the ground with her. But let's go over the last couple of fights for Pena. She's not very active. Her last fight was in October of 2024, which, yes, that's great, but it was a split decision, bullshit victory for Juliana Pena over Raquel Pennington to win the title. Amanda Nunes was her fight before that. That was in July of 2022. She was 2 years laid off. Laid off for 2 years after getting her ass whooped by fucking Amanda Nunes. And then her win before that was the December 11th, 2021 win against Amanda Nunes. So, I mean, Pena hasn't fought a lot. And it seems like every single time she wins, it's a fluke. And that's the only reason. And she's been riding that Amanda Nunes victory for way too fucking long.
For like 3-4 years.
Almost 4 years. Like, come December of this year, it's going to be 4 years. She's going to be like, I beat Amanda Nunes at one point. I'm like, bitch, Amanda Nunes wasn't feeling good that day. She came back and whooped your ass the next time around and said, yeah, that was just a fluke. A bad night, you know. But, regardless, though, the odds are pretty heavily favored in Kayla Harrison's direction. She is the minus 800 favorite to Juliana Pena's plus 500 underdog.
When your champion goes in as the underdog, huh?
That never happens. The champion is rarely ever the underdog when it comes to these fights. Usually they're like a favorite. They're usually the favorite or like a tiny, slight underdog, like plus 115 type deal. But like this one, man, even though I'm like Juliana Pena's biggest hater, like this is like a little bit too high for me. And like I'm giving justice to Juliana Pena right here. Based off of what they got, they're very, once again, similar to the Pfeiffer and Gastelum fight. They're pretty similar fighters as far as the statistics are concerned. They're both about in their mid-30s. Kayla Harrison's 34. Juliana Pena's 35. Juliana Pena has a 69-inch reach to the 66 reach for Kayla Harrison. So it's only a 3-inch difference there. Kayla Harrison is a southpaw. Juliana Pena is an orthodox. Juliana Pena has fought southpaws in the past and has done pretty well against them. 3.25 significant strikes landed per minute for Juliana Pena. And 4.87, so I'll just round that up to 5, significant strikes landed per minute for Kayla Harrison. Slightly more volume on Kayla Harrison's side. As far as the accuracy is concerned, Kayla Harrison is the more accurate striker at 69.1%. To the 61% for Juliana Pena. Each girl has a takedown average. Each woman. Juliana Pena has 1.81, so I'll round that up to two takedowns per fight. And Kayla Harrison has 3 takedowns per fight. Now, takedown accuracy is where they differ. Takedown accuracy for Juliana Pena is 56.25. To Kayla Harrison's 30.77. So, each girl has usually about 1 submission attempt per fight, hanging around that area. Kayla Harrison at 0.7, Juliana Pena at 0.8. So they're both like choosy when it comes to going for their submissions, but do attempt them. So based off of that, I don't think the odds should be as heavily stacked against Juliana Pena as they are. even though I'm Juliana Pena's biggest hater, you know?
I
But
know Nunes did have her do reconstruction surgery.
yeah,
So maybe second biggest hater.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe I am the second biggest hater. But yeah, I mean, what you think about these odds? Do you think it's a little bit too stacked in
Ugh.
Kayla's direction?
So
I think so.
the thing that there's two things I want to say specifically. One is how many of y'all UFC fans wanted to see a champion as an underdog? Like, how many were expecting that? Yeah, yeah, me neither.
I wasn't expecting it.
And the other is just like the one we went over on the prelims with the negative 700. One of them, except for in that one category, like successful and one that Pena's at like 5 and
No, takedown accuracy.
yeah.
Hmm.
Except for that one thing, it looks a lot like one is a better MMA fighter. Just off the rip by the stats alone. Never did I ever think that a champion would have what is it negative 500?
She's plus a 500 underdog.
Yeah, never did I think that there would be a plus 500
Underdog champion.
on a champion. Like that does not compute for this guy here.
It's like criminal for a sitting champion. Even though
But
she.
with the champion, I would say 500 negative 500 to 300. I would take those like as the odds that they should be instead of this 700 500 bullshit.
800, 500 bullshit.
800 500.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna tell you right now. I think Kayla Harrison is the more complete fighter. But here's another thing that I have to mention. Kayla Harrison has been in this position before, being a heavy favorite going into a title fight. I'm gonna take you guys back to her only loss that she ever had in MMA. She is 18-1 on a record. Her one loss was to Larissa Pacheco in the PFL World Championship 2022. The defending champion was Kayla Harrison. She was going in there, and she was like the minus 1,200 underdog. Even bigger than she is going into this Juliana Pena fight. She was like a minus 1,200 underdog. Pretty much had it in the bag. She had such a dominant round one. The odds, the live odds, you know how they show you those live odds, shot up to a minus 1450 favorite for Kayla Harrison. But something happened around two where she got rocked and then she couldn't fight as well afterwards. She was susceptible. She kept trying to take down Chico. Chica kept stuffing it. And usually when Kayla has to be forced to strike, she's going up against Pacheco, who has better striking than Juliana Pena. I will tell you that much because I know a little bit about Pacheco. And she is significantly better as a striker than Juliana Pena. But Pacheco was able to overwhelm Harrison with strikes and stuffing takedowns. She kept doing this the entire fight, in which by the end of the fight, it was minus 115 to minus 115. She had an excellent 4 additional rounds against Kayla Harrison, maybe only 3 additional rounds. I know it was 3 additional rounds because it ended up being 3 rounds to 2 at the end of the fight. And she had an amazing 3 rounds dominant over Kayla Harrison because she overwhelmed her with strikes, volume, and pressure, and kept stuffing takedowns. Now, this was 3 years ago. Am I trying to tell you that Kayla Harrison is the same fighter that she is now that she was 3 years ago? Fuck no. But Kayla Harrison has been in this position before where she is susceptible to being dominated if she can't get her way on the ground. If she can't get the takedown, if she can't overwhelm you with strikes, if she can't play the striking game, if she can't get to her significant tosses and her takedowns, she suffers. And I've seen her get overwhelmed with the pressure. And if there's one thing Juliana Pena can do, it's push pressure. So, that leaves me to say, even though this fight looks so lopsided, we've seen Kayla Harrison in this position before, and we could end up seeing a Larissa Pacheco situation with Juliana Pena. Because Juliana Pena, Venezuelan vixen, she's also a tough gal, despite me being her biggest hater, or second biggest hater for that matter. Despite me being her second biggest hater, I can acknowledge she's fucking tough, and she's gonna fight until she dies or wins. And I'm saying, Kayla Harrison gets a little sloppy in there, and starts like spamming the takedown button, And Juliana Pena keeps stuffing it, which Juliana Pena does have pretty good takedown defense. And then she's able to overwhelm her with strikes like she did against Amanda Nunes. There's a slight chance you could see a gigantic upset for Juliana Pena here. I'm not going to say that's what's happening, but I'm just telling you that is a warning. So as of right now, I'm going to say Kayla Harrison by decision. I do not think it's going to be a finish at all. And I also don't want to predict a finish because that very instance that happened 3 years ago in the PFL, where she was the minus 1,200 favorite going in, then ends up losing by a unanimous decision 3 rounds to 2 because she got overwhelmed with strikes and homegirl kept stuffing takedowns. And if there's one thing Juliana Pena can do, it's stuff takedowns and overwhelm you with strikes. So, that being said, I'm going to say Kayla Harrison by decision. But don't be surprised if we end up seeing a Pacheco Harrison fight yet again. And if you want to cash those tickets for Juliana Pena, plus 500, you're going to make the big bucks. So, Anthony, what you thinking?
I'm thinking and new by decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I've watched Kayla Harrison's old fights, and I've noticed that before. And if there's one thing that Juliana Pena can fucking do, it's rush in with strikes and stuff takedowns. Now, if she can't stuff the takedown, and she gets taken down, prepare for 5 rounds of Kayla Harrison dominance. But Kayla Harrison gets a little sloppy, her cardio isn't as great as maybe Juliana Pena's is. You could see a giant upset victory for the champion, which is crazy to say. You're going to see an upset victory for the champion. But it's usually supposed to be the other way around. But
yeah, that's the craziest thing we heard. We still have defending interim champ.
Oh, God damn it. Don't even get me fucking started on Aspinall and Jones. Oh, I get so mad at that shit. Anyway, moving on to the main event of the evening. We have a reigning, defending.
That their main event, huh?
Yeah.
Totally deserving main event there.
Yeah, Sean O'Malley. All right, here we go, guys. Let's go over it. Right, we got
Hype
reigning.
trains.
Sound what?
Hype trains.
But
marketability.
We got Merab, the Machine, Dvalishvili going for his second title defense against the man he took the belt from. That was the best one of the night. That was the best one of the night. That was a 9.9. That was a fucking excellent one. Good job. But, so we got Merab, the Machine, Dvalishvili going for his second title defense against the man he took the belt from last September, Sean O'Malley. Alrighty, guys.
It has an energy drink that we have had.
And it is really fucking good. So, it's Rise, and it's the cotton candy flavor. It's really good. It tastes like cotton candy. I'll be buying one for this fight, if I can find it in a store somewhere.
I'll have to try finding one, too.
I'll be buying
it from Amazon. Shipped to house now.
I mean, if you can. If you can't find it nowhere, you might as well. I'm going to go out tomorrow, try to look for it. But, I am going to be wearing my Sugar Show shirt. 100%, I want Sean O'Malley to win this fight. I'm just going to say that now. But, now let me go back to being a partial MMA analyst.
We can definitely want things.
Let me go back to being an analyst, though. Merab the Machine Dvalishvili is the minus 280 favorite to Sean O'Malley's plus 230 underdog status, which I think is completely correct based off of what Merab did last fight and what happened to Sean the last time he went against Merab. Merab here is 5'6". He's got a 68-inch reach advantage. He's 34 years old. He's 4 years Sean O'Malley's senior. This guy has a third lung. Maybe even a fucking fourth one. This dude can fight 10, 15, 20 rounds, and I'm sure he wouldn't even get tired. This guy, 5-round fight, 25 minutes, he don't give a fuck. And this dude...
Who has more lung space, him or Eminem?
I would say Merab, ever so slightly. Because I don't think Eminem could go, 20 rounds with somebody and not feel tired after. He is a little bit older. I mean, but I will say breath control definitely goes to Eminem. But, orthodox stance, he has 4.36 significant strikes landed per minute. It's 59% accuracy, which is actually really fucking good. This guy's a pretty good fighter, guys. He's a bit of a character, to say the least. He's a little bit of a dweeb. A little bit of a dweeb, but he's a dweeb that can ragdoll me, so I can't trash on him too much.
You have to allow his dweebinism.
Yeah, and I mean, if you can beat a motherfucker up in a cage fight, especially a Nurmagomedov, for that matter, which, mind you, that goes into my next point. This dude just fucking beat a Nurmagomedov.
Yeah.
This dude just fucking beat Umar Nurmagomedov. Like, bro.
Bro's
He beat...
pissed, actually. Bro is pissed.
Like, like, bro, what the fuck? Like, he beat fucking Umar Nurmagomedov. He put a wrench in Father Plan. He put a wrench in Father Plan. And Khabib is very angry. He's probably still whipping Umar Nurmagomedov to this day because he took that L to Merab Dvalishvili pretty decisively back in that last fight. So, this guy is going to keep shooting takedowns. He fought last in January against Umar, by the way. For those of y'all that didn't know. 5.6, which I will just fucking... no, not even. 5.9, which I'll just round up to 6. This dude attempts 6 takedowns per fight. This, bro, this dude just keeps shooting. Is he always successful? No. But does he keep going for 25 minutes? Uh-huh. That's why they call him the Machine. And his accuracy is 35.38% for takedowns. But this dude keeps shooting. Like I said, he doesn't land every single one. But he keeps fucking shooting. And this guy keeps putting pressure on. No matter what happens, Merab is all gas and no fucking brakes. I'm like, Jesus Christ. What the fuck what the fuck's in the water over there in Georgia? What the fuck's in the water? We got Merab Dvalishvili coming out of there. We got fucking Ilya Taporia coming out of there. Like, what the fuck's in the water over there in Georgia, okay? I need to know. But, it's so impressive to me how much of a pace Merab Dvalishvili can keep. And even though I'm not a big fan of the guy, I gotta respect him, dude. He is so fucking good. And this guy, arguably, everybody in the bantamweight division has kind of lacked in becoming, like, usually in each division there's a greatest fighter in that division, you know? Bantamweight, it's kind of up in the air. There isn't a definitive answer. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you it's Dominic Cruz. At least for now. But, just because he had 3 title defenses. But then again, you got to think about it. Aljamain Sterling had higher level competition. Also had 3 title defenses before walking in against Sean O'Malley. You know, but then we got to think about Merab here, who, even though he wasn't a champion for most of his time at bantamweight, because he was kind of just being the gatekeeper, so out for Aljo, essentially, because Aljo and Merab are like best friends. This guy has beaten some of the creme de creme of the fucking bantamweight division. I'm looking at his fucking record right now. Bro's on a 12-fight winning streak, which is insane. And then he's gotten notable victories over Umar Nurmagomedov. That's the big one. Sean O'Malley, Henry Cejudo, Piotr Jan, and Jose Aldo. This dude has fought most of the creme de creme of fucking bantamweight. And
which one of those guys are you taking?
None of them. I'm dying. That's what's happening. No matter what, this motherfucker is so fucking insane. He has so many notable wins. Marlon Moraes also. So, Marlon Moraes, Jose Aldo, Piotr Jan, Henry Cejudo, Sean O'Malley, Umar Nurmagomedov. This bro is beating a lot of the top-level bantamweights. And if he beats O'Malley again, we might need to start thinking about putting Merab and Dominic Cruz in the same kind of conversation. Like, even though Merab's a big-time clown. Fucking clown. He's so stupid on social media. But, fuck it, dude. If you can beat somebody up, I'd be an idiot on social media, too. You know?
You don't gotta worry about social media if you just beat up everyone.
Mm-hmm. And it'll be like, oh, if somebody clowns on you in the social media comment section, you just be like, I can beat that dude's ass. You know? Like, and that's very much the case. And this dude has such an impressive fighting style. He mostly wins by decision, but the pace he keeps is so goddamn fast. And it's really fucking hard to keep up with. A Nurmagomedov couldn't do it. Sean O'Malley couldn't do it. Piotr Jan couldn't do it, who's also known for pushing a heavy pace. Like, dude.
Dude just shouts Blitzkrieg and charges.
Pretty much. But this Merab Dvalishvili, dude, he is something else. And I gotta say, even for as much of a clown as he is, I'm impressed by this dude's body of work. I really am. And I gotta respect it. But, you know, we gotta start putting more respect on Marab's name. To be honest with you, even though like he's, I'm gonna say it again, he's a fucking clown. But so is Sean O'Malley. Now introducing our challenger and slash
The
former
the guy
champion.
the guy with the rainbow hair is a bit of a clown.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
What do you mean? Dude with the rainbow hair? Nah, bro. Nah. Anyway, Sean O'Malley here. This guy is a striker who has some pretty good takedown defense, but he didn't have very good takedown defense against Marab. Usually his takedown D is pretty damn good. But when you're going and defending takedowns from a Aljamain Sterling versus a Marab Dvalishvili, those are two different takedown styles. And you can kind of get a grip on what Aljo's is. I mean, we saw him have a grip on what Aljo's was. He lands that right hand and he became the champion. You know what I mean? You can kind of time out Aljo's pace and body of work and takedown style a little bit more than you can with Marab. Marab's just gonna keep fucking going. Even if you break free, here he comes again. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what happened to Sean O'Malley in the last fight. I have never seen somebody get fucking ragdolled for 5 rounds as much as I saw Sean O'Malley get ragdolled for 5 rounds back in the Sphere in Vegas in fucking September of last year. It was a masterclass for Marab. It really was. Now, Sean O'Malley, he was very lackluster in that fight. He was, I think, even a slight favorite going into that fight, if I can remember correctly. It might have been like a minus 120 favorite type deal, and that's based off of his body of work with takedown defenses and significant strike accuracy. Now, let me tell you, Sean O'Malley still has those things. And now that he's already gotten a taste for what Marab can do, he can better simulate what Marab does in training camp for the rematch. You know what I mean? Now that he's actually been in there, has experienced it, and knows what it's like. Experience helps a lot of people. And he's still a sniper. Sean O'Malley's a fucking sniper. Doesn't matter. He always has a way of finding you. Like, every single fight, even the one against Marab, he still found a way to land a clean hit on Marab. You know? He still found a way to land that fucking clean hit on Aljamain Sterling that made him the champ. I don't even want to say he found a way to hit to find the chin of Cheeto Vera, because that was just a fucking human punching bag type deal. But Sean O'Malley is a sniper, and he's really good at it, and it shows. His significant strike accuracy is 61.8, which I'll just round up to 62. 62%. That is incredible. You know, usually, like I said, you want to shoot to be like in that 50, 55 area. He's at 62. That's incredible. That's great. He also has more significant strikes landed per minute. He has higher volume than Marab. But with the 6.7, which I'll just round up to 7 significant strikes landed per minute. So he has higher volume and higher accuracy, which tells me I think he's going to find a way to get a shot on him. Maybe hit him a couple of times. But do I think that that's going to get him the championship? No. I love Sean O'Malley. He's one of my favorite fighters right now. I want him to win so very badly. I'm pretty sure the UFC wants him to win too, because he's very marketable. He's very popular on social media. And I will say, Sean O'Malley has taken a break from social media. I follow his socials, so I know like how frequently he posts. And before the Marab fight, I saw him posting a lot. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing posting on social media? Go fucking train. You know what I mean? Like, you got a fucking machine to go against, quite literally. But he never did. And this time though, ever since this fight got announced and his fight camp started, Sean O'Malley's been a bit of a ghost on social media, which tells me he's locked the fuck in. He wants that. He wants that fight back. Do I think he deserves another title fight? No, not really. I think he should have gone into at least a number one contendership fight against Corey Sandhagen, and whoever wins that, you can either make that a co-main event, a featured fight, or maybe even a fight night main event if you're feeling really good about yourself. And you could have him duke it out to see who gets number one contendership, or maybe even do a rematch between Piotr Jan and Sean O'Malley, because I'm still not entirely convinced that Sean O'Malley won that fight. Like, I understand, I've rewatched the fight a couple times, and I could kind of see how you do it, but I still think it should have gone to Jan, even though I am an O'Malley fan, you know? But I don't know why, but no, they just gave him a title shot as soon as he was done. Sean O'Malley hasn't fought since he lost to Marab. And do I think that was the right move, giving him Giving him a title shot? No. No, not really. And an immediate rematch for the belt that he lost? No, I don't think he did enough to deserve it. He beat the brakes off of fucking Cheeto, which impressive as shit. But then his second title defense, he failed, you know. And then yes, he got that big time victory in Boston. I was there against Aljo, which was amazing. But it's just like I don't think he deserved an immediate rematch right out the gate. Do I think that fucking what's his face did when he came back, Volkanovski? Yes, I do think Volkanovski did enough to prove that he deserves an immediate rematch as soon as he comes back. And lo and behold, we did it. We got it. He won it back. You know, but I think he deserved it. Do I think that Israel Adesanya deserved it after he lost the belt to Strickland? Of course, but he couldn't do it. You know, but I don't think Sean O'Malley did enough as champion to warrant an immediate rematch. I think he should have had one more big time profile fight against either Piotr Jan again or fucking Corey Sandhagen. I would have rather Corey Sandhagen because it just been someone new, and Corey Sandhagen hasn't fought for a belt since he fought for the interim title against Jan in 2021. So I just think it's Sandhagen's turn to try to compete for a belt. But that didn't happen. This is the fight we got. I'm still excited for it. And do I think that Sean O'Malley might be able to perform a little bit better in this fight than he did last fight? Yeah, I do. And because he went so ghost on social media, he even said in an interview he cut out drinking, cut out smoking, all that stuff, so that he could focus just on training. He's not even dyeing his hair for this fight.
Really?
Yeah, so that tells me that, and even on social media today, I was looking on Instagram, trying to find some juicy content to bring up for this podcast today. Um, he in his sparring matches that he had like with just his teammates, he simulated a fight environment. Like he had to walk out, he had to get the Vaseline put on him by the coach. He walked in, they fought 5 rounds, 5 minutes. So he's been simulating a fight environment. But there was one thing that I noticed: Sean O'Malley was training in shoes. Doesn't typically happen in an MMA gym. Usually you're barefoot, right? Which also makes me fear that he might have a foot or ankle injury. Because he needs more support. And I don't know if that's the case, or maybe he was just wearing shoes that day because fuck it. But usually when you're training MMA, you're barefoot, right? But I'm a little worried that Sean O'Malley might be a little injured going into this fight. Do I still think he has the ability to put on a good performance? Like I said, yes. But I'm still going to take Merab Dvalishvili by decision. That's the final prediction. Anthony, what you got?
Yeah. Well, lots to unpack with this one. First and foremost, no. Sean O'Malley did not deserve a rematch clause.
Oh, fuck no.
Sorry about that. People who are riding his hype train, it just wasn't enough. Yes, I do agree. Like a Sandhagen or a Jan fight would have been exciting to watch before going back up there. So I definitely would have loved to see that instead of this. Um, I I really wish that I could say that something is going to be different in this fight than the first one. Personally, I don't think that the outcome's gonna be different. I really don't. But on that note too, I do think we'll see a better fight, and I think that's one because O'Malley's taking his training more serious. Two, he has a bit more experience, especially against fighting against Marab, having um,
Having that pre-fight
that
knowledge.
match already have happened. Because Sean O'Malley kind of was on the fast track for the title as soon as he got that really big following.
Oh, yeah.
And the problem with that is experience that's gained during fights is not something you accumulate like that if you're on the fast track.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I think that he'll be able to perform better and why his performance wasn't as outstanding the first time. I really, really hope there's no foot or ankle injury. I'm just hoping he wore, sneakers there because I hate seeing an injured fighter fight because
100%.
on the occasion they win, that's great. But two things. you put yourself at risk even more for a paycheck, and we're not seeing you fight at your best.
Yeah. And with that being said, I think we both had the same prediction. We're
Yep.
both taking and still from Marab,
Yep.
probably by decision.
Yep.
And yeah, but we could see a more competitive fight this time. Sean O'Malley might actually get a couple of hits in, might defend a takedown or two, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough. And I do like seeing him locked in a little bit more, and that's why I do have suspicion that it's going to be a better fight. But I still think the result's going to be the same. I think Marab's going to go out there, do what Marab does best, and it's going to overwhelm O'Malley. Then I don't even know what you do with O'Malley after that. What would?
Well, then he could get his Sanhagen or Jan fight.
Yeah, I guess you could do that. But after losing 2 straight title fights, that's going to really put you down a little bit.
Well, I didn't say that in regards for O'Malley. In regards to Piotr Jan or frickin' what the hell I just said his name?
Corey Sandhagen?
Or Corey Sanhagen. It helps lift up their profile of that fight with the former champion. And then you have ways to go from there.
Yeah, true. But yeah, it should be a good fight regardless, though. I'm excited for the weekend, and before we let y'all go, we got some fight announcements for you. So yeah, those are UFC 316 predictions. Let us know what you're thinking in the comments. But
Or
that
where to find O'Malley's energy drink.
because I want to buy a couple for this for this fight.
Or some Broken Skull.
I know where to find Broken Skull.
The IPA one?
Uh,
I'll grab one of those and try that out.
I heard from Austin that it's not very good, but Austin doesn't really like beer. So I mean,
Yes, we know in Austin.
yeah,
We're not talking about.
we're not talking about Steve Austin.
No.
We know in Austin. We're related to Ann Austin. He told me that it was pretty shitty, but then again, it's
I mean,
Austin,
If
and
we were to base it off the Hulk one over there, yeah.
the Broken Skull Lager was pretty good. I remember I had that on New Year's. I don't know if I think you were at. Were you here for New Year's? I forget.
Probably.
I think you were. I don't think I had you try that one though. The Broken Skull like lager, like the El Segundo Broken Skull Lager, was really fucking good.
Yeah,
Tasted
I
a
don't
little
think I
bit.
tried it. I think it was here though.
It tasted a little bit like Yingling. It tasted a little bit like Yingling, so it was pretty good. Had that beer bite to it, which I like. So, yeah, well, I might have to pick up some Broken Skull IPA, Broken Skull Lager for this fight.
Is this fight in Austin, Texas, or
No, unfortunately, I wish it was. That would make it so much better. It's in fuck, where is it? I think it's in Vegas. Oh no, it's not in Vegas. It's in fucking Jersey. Fuck am I talking about?
Jersey?
Same place that we saw Poirier fight. But yeah, I remember the lager being pretty good. It's just really pricey. I got a 4-pack of like the 16-ounce cans. It was $10. I was like, god damn. But then again, it's fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin, and you know, that's what you're paying for. So yeah, I don't know. I'll go to my spot. What's it called? The one near Super Walmart. That's where I found it for the first time. So you'll probably find it there. And but yeah, that's UFC 316. Let's go over what we're to expect. So another 2 more fights got confirmed. Pretty big fights got confirmed for the Usman and Buckley card that we've been hyping up for a little while now. It's the return of Kamaru Usman.
Yes.
I think it's going to be his last one, but we'll see.
About fucking damn time.
About fucking damn time. The Edmund
Not
Shabazian.
no fucking short notice bullshit.
Yeah, so he had a camp for this one, which is good. We have Edmund Shabazian and Andre Petrosky got added to the Usman Buckley card. That should be a pretty good fight between two middleweights here that are rather young, getting ready to kind of burst out into the scene a little bit. We also have Cody Garbrandt back at it. Cody Garbrandt's going against Raoni Barcelos. I believe Cody Garbrandt is coming off of a knockout victory currently. So, does Cody Glasschin win again? We'll see. Or will he become Cody Glasschin once more and get fucking cranked? But another fight got added to the Hill versus Roundtree Jr. card that's happening on June 21st. Already hyped about the Jamal Hill and Khalil Roundtree fight. First time Khalil Roundtree is going to be on here since getting fucking destroyed by Alex Pereira, but also almost finishing Alex Pereira.
It happens when you fight Pereira.
Yep. And then we have Jamal Hill, who's coming off getting his ass whooped by Yuri Prohaska. So,
I'll be honest, I was never big on Jamal Hill.
yeah, he's just kind of there. And then obviously we have Rafael Paziv and Ignacio Bahamondes on there. We told you guys that last time. But we have Curtis Blades and Rizvan Kiniev got added to this fight. And we also have, unfortunately, Tagir Olenbekov's fight got canceled. His fight against Kyoji Horiguchi got canceled, but Tagir Olenbekov, who's part of Team Khabib, is going to still fight. He's just got a last-minute replacement with Azat Maksum. And then we also have Mohammed Usman on this card. He's fighting on his Big Bros card. So Mohammed Usman is the younger brother of Kamaru Usman. So we got both the Usman boys on this card. So it's going to be pretty fun to see them go at it. And that's the new fights that got added to the Hill and Roundtree card. UFC 317 is taking shape now. We got a couple of new fights on there. Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira still the main event for the vacant lightweight title. Islam Makhachev has chosen to go up to welterweight to go and face JDM. So fight announcement for that probably in October. Thinking that's going to headline the Abu Dhabi card. And then we'll see how that fight goes. But Islam vacated the title. He had nothing left to prove. Said, all right, I'm moving up. And now the vacant lightweight title's on the line. Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira, going to be a great fight. We also have Alessandro Pantoja and Kai Kara France in the co-main event. I don't know if I mentioned that on this podcast yet, but that is the co-main event. Alessandro Pantoja, like I said, extremely incredible champion, impresses me every time. Kai Kara France, probably my favorite flyweight next to Brandon Moreno. So this will be a good fight. And we'll see what happens. Maybe Pantoja moves up if he beats Kai Kara France in this card and goes and faces the winner of O'Malley and Merab. So that might happen. I mean, I think Pantoja's done enough of flyweight now. He's pretty much cleared that division out, sometimes multiple times over. So I think that's something you should have in the back of your mind for this fight. That is, if Dana lets double champs happen. Anyway, we have Beneil Dariush and Renato Moicano on this card. Also, for the flyweight division, we have Brandon Royval back at it. He's facing Manel Kape. And it's going to be a pretty good fight between these two. I think if whoever wins this fight, assuming Pantoja retains and moves up, might end up fighting for an interim, if not the undisputed title, if they win this one. They'll probably, if Kai Kara France wins it, I think Pantoja does deserve an immediate rematch, which I think would be fair. I'm going to be rooting for Kai Kara France. First time I'm rooting against Pantoja for his entire title reign. So, but hey man, when City Kickboxing is coming to play, dude, City Kickboxing is coming to play. But yeah, I think very much so Brendan Royval and Manel Kape. This could be a number one contendership fight, possibly either undisputed or interim title fight in their futures, depending on who wins this fight and what each person decides to do afterwards. But regardless, should be a good fight. We also have Paulo Costa and Roman Kopylov is confirmed. I think I already mentioned that one already.
That wasn't happening.
Oh yeah, the fight isn't happening. Paulo Costa isn't happening. Supposedly, Paulo Costa's fighting Roman Kopylov, which, oh boy. You gonna need a lot of secret juice, Mr. Costa. I'm gonna be so real with you. Cause this Roman Kopylov, man, he's a fucking scary bastard. Anyway, I have another fight confirmed on this card. Jack Hermanson, Gregory Robocop Rodriguez. Should be a good fight. We also have Tracy Cortez and Vivian Araujo got confirmed. So Tracy Cortez back on the proving ground since taking the fucking L to Rose Namajunas in like dastardly fashion. So this card's starting to take some shape. We still got a couple of fights to come on this card. I can see they're still building it because it's not divided into main card prelims and early prelims yet. So that just tells me there's still fights that are going to be added. So let's be aware of that for the future. We also have Derek Lewis and Taliesin Teixeira going at it. Derek Lewis is a heavy underdog going into this fight. Apparently this Teixeira dude, I don't think he's related to Glover, but he's 8-0, and dude's impressive as fuck. But god damn it, we want that Black Beast to win. We also have Jake Matthews, who's back on the proving ground against Chidi Jokuni. We also have Calvin Kattar back at it, facing Steve Garcia. Let's go Boston. And, Calvin Kattar's our Boston boy. Yep. So that's what we're going to go for. We have Vitor Petrino and
Actually,
Austin
I wanted to
Lane.
ask this before
Yes.
when we had O'Malley.
Hmm.
That was at Boston, right?
What, when you beat Aljo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When had they been to Boston before that?
Oh my God! Prior to that was Conor McGregor on a fight night. I think he faced was it Mendez? He might have faced Mendez in Boston.
Because we've had this speculation about why they don't go to Boston.
Yeah. Thinking
even
that
with the Boston Strong on all that man.
yeah, we think Dana owes some money to the Irish mob over there.
Of course, we don't know for sure.
Yes, of course. We don't know for sure, but I mean, they went. It was 2 years ago, so I mean, it's in recent history. But anyway, moving on, we have Vitor Petrino and Austin Lane got confirmed. Should be okay. Vitor Petrino has been pretty impressive as of late. We have Max Griffin and Chris the Action Man Curtis got confirmed for this fight. This is the Lewis and Teixeira fight going down on July 12th. What else do we have on here? Lauren Murphy's back, and she's gonna face Eduardo Morna in the flyweight division. Lauren Murphy's been around since God fucking forever ago, and she hasn't fought a whole lot in recent years. And then also, I'm so excited to say Stephen Wonderboy Thompson has a fight confirmed, and he's facing Gabriel Bonfim. So it's not Ishmael Bonfim, the guy that fucking flatlined Terrence McKinney, but it's his brother who got a knockout that same night as well. So should be an interesting fight between Thompson and Bonfim. So super excited to announce that Stephen Thompson's back in the octagon, and this could be his final one. To be honest with you, at this point, any fight of Stephen Thompson's could be his last. Dude's 41 years old, so I mean, like
Is this like a 60th fight or something?
I mean, not really. He's 17-8-1, at least in the MMA record. But he had a shit ton of kickboxing fights. He was like 165-0 in kickboxing, some bullshit. So the dude's had a lifetime of striking, just maybe not in MMA, like a Israel Adesanya type beat. But yeah, so that's that. UFC 318 got a couple of fights added in. Obviously, that is going to be headlined by Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier's final dance is going to be for the BMF title. We have Marvin Vettori and Brendan Allen. In the co-main event, we have Neil Magny and Gunnar Nelson got added. We have Ikram Aliskerov and Bruno Ferreira got added. We also have Jimmy Crute and Marcin Pacino going at it. I love you, Jimmy Crute. And then who else do we have? And we also have Amanda Ribas and Tabitha Ritchie going at it on that card as well. Looking to be pretty good. They're still building this card too. And as far as let's see, who didn't I announce on here? Okay, yeah, Shara Putin, Shara Bullet Magomedov is back at it. He's going to be fighting on the Whitaker and DeRitter card. He's going against Marc-Andre Barreau, who just fought like 2 weeks ago. So, like, bro went from one camp to another camp. And Sharpuden obviously looking to get back after taking a massive L to MVP earlier this year in February. We also have Nikita Krylov. He's going to be fighting Bogdan Goskov, and that's added on to the Whitaker and the Ritter card. Jesus, we have a lot to go over. But another fight night has been confirmed for August 2nd. Amir Albazi's finally fucking back after being gone for 2 fucking years. He's facing Tatsuro Taira, who's been one of the up-and-coming guys in the flyweight division. Probably 1 or 2 fights removed from a top 5, if not undisputed title fight, depending on how Pantoja handles Kai Kara-France and what he decides to do from there. That's probably they have a couple of other fights on that card, but none of them I really want to mention on here. We have Roman Dolidze headlining another fight night. He's going to be facing Anthony Hernandez. That's going down on August 9th. We also have Alex Perez and Steve Erceg in the co-main event. So that got confirmed for August 9th. And for UFC 319, it still stands as Dracus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev. So, that's all the fight announcements. That's our predictions for UFC 316. Anthony, you got anything else?
No, I think that's pretty much everything.
2-hour fucking podcast. Let's go.
Happens.
Happens sometimes. We went a little over our limit, guys, but UFC 316.
Let us know in comments if you want any specific subject covered. We do everything from music to entertainment to UFC. If want us to cover that album that he's been listening to? What was it, 37 tracks?
Yeah, Morgan Wallen's "I'm the Problem" album that I've been bumping as of late.
Let us know.
Yeah,
Some of you might have come from our dive into country music. If that's something you'd like to
I'd be
cover
willing.
here, just hit us up.
I'd be willing to do another fucking country episode for Morgan Wallen. So, yeah, that should be a good one. Also, guys, another announcement I should make on the tail end of this podcast is UFC 316 isn't the only thing happening on Saturday. We also have WWE Money in the Bank on
Oh,
Saturday. So, we're going to be double screening like a bunch of fucking blue light addicts.
yep.
Because goddamn it, TKO, you double booked us again. You fucking bastard. I thought you would stop at fucking Backlash. Nah. Now we have another fucking pay-per-view. Another UFC fucking pay-per-view. Big pay-per-view for that matter. And fucking Money in the Bank, which is a crucial pay-per-view for storylines from now until fucking next year. So, goddamn it, TKO, you double booked us again. We'll be double screening like a bunch of fucking junkies.
Maybe they're trying to find out what's watched more. Which one do they get more of? Okay.
You're not gonna get a very accurate read on us. We're
No.
fucking watching both.
Yeah, not from us.
We're fucking watching both. So yeah, tune in for Money in the Bank, UFC 316 going down this Saturday, and yeah, we'll check y'all next time.